Ladies and gentlemen, SKC and No Other Club, Logan Corkins here on a Sunday. We're going to give you a little sampling. Today's just a test. We're going to post this online here in a little bit. So if you're listening online after the podcast has been done, let me know what you think of it. Because here is the deal. Starting here in March, I'm going to be doing a new show called The Sporting Nerds. It's a podcast that will happen once a week. And it's where we'll be streaming a sports game like FIFA here, or coming up March 28th, we'll start playing MLB The Show. Speaking of MLB, we'll talk about that here in a minute. And we're talking about current sports situations. We're analyzing, we're talking about, we're having discussions, debates, all that good stuff. We will have a co-host. That's coming up in a little bit. We'll talk about that too. So yeah, I mean, we got a lot of good stuff going on. But today I just wanted to give you a sample of what that podcast is going to be like when it's just me. Again, Logan Corkins here on a Sunday. But I got to tell you, man, there's a lot to go on. Now, what is on deck? Batting first, we'll be talking about spring training for the MLB, specifically the Kansas City Royals today. And then we'll be taking a look at the MLS preview as the Diamond Cup was in action over the past week. And we'll talk about some teams that might have a chance to not only go for the U.S. Open Cup, maybe even that MLS Cup. And then finally, to wrap it up, we'll talk about NFL free agency. And you know what? Kind of looking forward to that. So we begin, though, with the Kansas City Royals. And in a offseason that was tragic for them. It was tragic for a lot of reasons, but none bigger, in my mind, perhaps, than the unfortunate loss of pitcher Yordano Ventura. As a player, as a inspiration, he has been unbelievable. He was an unbelievable influence on this team. And to have him pass away the way that he did is unbelievable. And he is not a player that will be forgotten anytime soon. Ace, may rest in peace. Now, that being said, Royals made a couple of key offseason moves. We'll talk about that. First off, Kendrys Morales is no longer a Royal. Neither is Wade Davis. And in move... okay, look, the Wade Davis one makes sense. He didn't have a lot left of the tank. The one that gets me, though, is how they got Jorge Soler out of the deal. And that's not a bad thing on the Royals. That's a bad thing on the Cubs. The Cubs, you didn't have to give up Soler for Davis. And the fact of the matter is, you overpaid. You straight up did. The Royals were able to make the most out of those situations. Now, a situation that I don't approve of, and this is a big one, is the re-signing of Danny Duffy. I don't have a problem with re-signing him. What I have the issue of is how much money you signed him for. The problem with the Royals is they overpay players who the fans love. Alex Gordon, for instance, got a massive contract that is killing the Royals' financials right now. Wade Davis signs 5 years, $65 million. At his, not Wade Davis, sorry, Danny Duffy signs for 5 years, $65 million. This is a waste of money. This is definitely a waste of money, in my opinion. The Royals are wasting money that they could be using, to sign a player for their future, and that's Eric Hosmer. Look, Hosmer's going to want a big money deal. You could have taken, $40 million of this deal and put it on the side for a potential Hosmer deal. I think that's what they should have done. And yet, Dayton Moore has his reasons. You can't argue with his reasons. He won a World Series just 2 years ago, was in the World Series back-to-back years. So you can't argue with his logic yet. But I think the further into this contract, once we get to, let's say year 3, you will see, I believe, the Royals fan base turn on Danny Duffy. And it could even happen this year. Look, that rotation is so much more different than I thought it was going to be this year. And so there's the argument that, well, okay, if Duffy doesn't have a good year this year, will the fans start to turn on this move within the first year? I don't know if that will happen. I think Duffy will be a good... I think, honestly, in the rotation, he's the third. He's behind Kennedy, and he's behind, cannot remember the other guy's name from the Cubs. Just signed him. So in my opinion, look, here's the deal. Duffy has to have an ERA under 4. he has to pitch, I'd say, over 200 innings for the Royals to be happy. Because here's the deal. That bullpen this year, the middle relief is the thing that scares the crap out of me. And again, this is a contract situation because Joakim Soria is signed to a pretty dang good deal for a middle reliever. And the Royals went to him a lot last year, and he failed in so many chances. He gave up. Like, if the Royals had a 1 or 2 run lead, he was always certain to give up that lead. By the way, awesome goal. Pogba! But anyway, he would do these things where, you know, he come in the 7th and 8th or 8th inning with a 1 run lead and blow it by giving up 3 runs in 1 inning. Like, Joakim Soria was definitely not the answer, but you have to keep going to him from a business standpoint because, we paid him so much money, we have to get our money's worth. But if the Royals do that again this year, they're just going to lose their fan base off the fact of, okay, well, every time we get into a close game, we're going to get a Soria. That's not what they should be doing. What they should be doing is looking for that other man. You know, it was easy 2 years ago. It was easy 3 years ago when you had the HDH combo. It was easy 3 years ago when you had, or 2 years ago when you just have Wade Davis being able to close out and being consistently good at closing out. But then he gets hurt. Then he has injury issues, which is why the Royals sent him off to the Cubs. And a smart move there, in my opinion. But to me, it doesn't make sense for the Royals to sign Wade Davis when they have so many more issues. That middle relief scares the crap out of me. Now, the positives to the Royals are you have contract years for several players. Moose, Moustakas, Kane, all players who are going to be playing their lights out so that they can get a decent-sized contract within the next year. I think that's the positive. The bad thing about this, Royals won't be able to sign maybe all... realistically, they'll probably be able to sign about one of their core guys. Now, the plus side... Actually, I'll take that back. You could probably find a way, and it wouldn't be that hard because he was awful last year, to sign Lorenzo Cain, and you take your pick, but I think you'll probably have to settle for Moose. And it's bad when you have to settle for Mike Moustakas. But here's the deal. The Royals have a lot more needs. I think pitching, yes, it's a priority, especially the rotation is a priority. But for the amount of money that you put, you should not be giving that money to... First off, Danny Duffy. 2, did you not learn anything when you gave a bunch of money to Gil Mesh back in the day? Yes, I'm going to say Gil Mesh there. That was in the Dayton Moore regime as well. They gave a lot of money to a player who just flat out didn't deserve it. I think Danny Duffy's in the same boat. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope Danny Duffy lives up to that contract. I hope he helps out this team. I don't think he will, though. I think the Royals have... decisions that they will make next year that unfortunately they'll have to be like, well, you know what, we could have had more money, but oh no, we put it all towards Duffy, or we put it all towards Gordo, or Joakim Soria is still somehow on our team. I honestly hope, and this is really what I think will happen, I don't even think he makes it out of spring training, because if word gets around that he's not good in spring training, he gets cut in a heartbeat, in my opinion. I don't see a way that they keep him. I don't think you can... I don't think you can justify it. I don't. I wish you could, but I don't think you can. But like I said, plus sides to the Royals, you have Moose, you have Kane, you have Hosmer all on contract years, so you know that they're going to be playing their hardest. The other nice thing is Brandon Moss. Home run hitter, but here's the thing. He's the... home run hitter in the National League. National League guys coming over to the American League, it's a little different. Yes, the ballparks are more of a hitter's ballpark, I think, in the AL more than the NL. For instance, I mean, with the exception of like the AL East. Actually, no, I won't even say that because the Rays Stadium's a hitter's ballpark for sure. But there are so many fields that are better for hitters in the AL, but the pitching changes. Chris Sale is with the Red Sox now. That's one that the Royals won't have to worry about too much this year. But pitchers in the AL seem to they're the fastball throwing guys who can kill you with a cutter or a good changeup, maybe even a curveball if they have it in their arsenal. Like Brandon Moss is going to have I think he's going to have a really easy transition though. I'm personally looking forward to seeing how Brandon Moss handles it. Yeah, losing Kendrys Morales stinks, but I think you get a much, much better player for a little bit less money with Randy Moss. And I'm okay with that. Jorge Soler will probably, I think, end up getting right field. That's kind of my thought. I mean, you want to do the platoon again of Orlando and maybe Dyson? Yeah, but I think you need to pick Orlando or you need to pick Dyson. Let them be the relief outfielder for off days. I think that's what you got to do. So that's my thoughts out there on the Royals. Sporting Kansas City, who I wish I was playing with right now. Did he really just kick that at himself? Dumbass. We're going to very briefly cover Sporting Kansas City here. Sporting Kansas City not doing too shabby. Dom Dwyer back. They lose Nuno Coelho. They get Eric Palmer Brown back. And they had a bunch of decent signings. Like this is a team that I don't think is going to be absolutely amazing, but I don't think they're going to be bad, though, either. I think they're going to be a really good team when it's all said and done. Prediction for Sporting this year is I think you have to see them go into the first round of the MLS playoffs. I think the curse is going to keep going, so they're going to lose in that first game. But I do think they win the U.S. Open this year. I think this is the year that really sets them up nicely for the U.S. Open. I think they're going to win that. I don't think that they're going to go very far in the MLS playoffs. I think it's the lack of depth, of good depth. Like, they have depth, but it's not 90-minute depth. And what I mean by 90-minute depth is guys who can fill in for an injury or when national team duties come along, and who can play a full 90 when they're used to playing maybe 20, 30 minutes a game. And play it well. I mean, there are definitely differences between, okay, well, you're out here on the pitch for the 30 minutes. Oh, thank God. And then there's the difference of, okay, well, you know what? You played definitely one of your most solid. Wow, that sucked. 90 minutes ever. So there's definitely a difference. Yeah, like I said, Sporting, I think they're going to win the U.S. Open Cup. I think they're going to lose in the first round of the MLS playoffs. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they win the MLS Cup and they lose in the first round of the in the U.S. Open. So that's just my thoughts. All right. That's going to do it for me. I know I said I was going to talk about the Chiefs. I really don't want to talk about the Chiefs right now. So, bye.